Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, and not wait till it's Monday on the Tuesday show with Ted and CJ. Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, and not wait till it's Monday on the Tuesday show with Ted and CJ. Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, and not wait till it's Monday on the Tuesday show with Ted and CJ. Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, and not wait till it's Monday on the Tuesday show with Ted and CJ.
And a hello.
And a hello.
And a hello
to you too, CJ.
Hello to you three, Ted.
Yes. Yeah, indeed. There's a number theme there.
Yes.
Yeah, so how are you? How are you doing? It's Friday. We're here. We're back.
I'm literally looking at myself on screen there, and I'm like, my eyes look really bloodshot from here.
You look terrible. Should we send an ambulance?
I look awful. I'm just tired. It's Friday night. It's been a long week. But yeah, no, apart from that, I'm really good. How are you doing today?
I'm okay. I can't complain.
Good.
It's just simply not allowed, so I won't.
I was saying, I'm sure you could.
Yeah, I could do.
There's
lots of things I can complain about. Should I want to?
I used one of your lines with a colleague yesterday. So I popped it to one of my colleagues has broken her foot, so she can't leave the house at the minute. She can't drive. So I was in the area for work anyway, and I was like, look, do you want me just to pop around and we'll go for coffee or something just to get you out of the house? She's like, yeah, great, awesome. And yeah, we hung out for a couple of hours, drank coffee, shot the shit, and put the world to rights and all that stuff. And then literally at the end, she was like, thank you so much for coming and getting me out of the house. I was like, that's the least I could do. Actually, no, that's a lie. The least I could have done was nothing. But I did this instead. It made her smile, so
yeah,
that was good.
Yeah. Well, you know what they say: laughter is the best medicine.
Unless you have diarrhea.
Well, yeah, or or if it's some sort of field hospital in the middle of a war zone. Yeah, I don't think that. No, actually, laughter's not the best. Anyway, moving swiftly on from that nonsense. Yeah. So, what's the topic for tonight's show?
You tell me, Ted.
I'll tell you what tonight's topic. Well, it's a big question. Here's the big question: are people happier when they have more options or when they have fewer? That's right, folks. It's a conversation about choice. And now's your time to make that choice. Do I want to listen to this? Do I want to not watch this nonsense or not?
Do I want to listen to this or do the other thing? I'll go do the other thing. Anything else?
If you do, however, then please do get into the chat and tell us where you've where you stand on this. Do you think people, it's better off having more choice or less choice? More options, fewer options, and what happens when you have too many or too few?
We covered something like this a couple of weeks ago because there was a video I was watching on YouTube, and he did like an experiment in his video, whether it was staged or not, I don't know. And it was like, if he tells his wife what they're having for dinner, she's like, yeah, okay, cool, no problem. He'll just be like, right, I'm going to get Chinese. I'll be home in however long. And she's like, yeah, okay, cool. But then when he goes, what do you want for dinner? It's I don't really know. And then they start reeling off options. And it's like, well, do you want cheese? Do you want burger and fries? No, I don't fancy that. Do you want Mexican? No, I don't fancy that. And it's just like, and I feel like some people do get some real decision paralysis.
Yes.
And it happens to me at work all the time. If people are just like, well, look, you've got all these things, all these options, you just got to pick one. I'm like, I don't know. I genuinely don't know what the right answer is. And
Yeah.
you know, when I look at Just Eat, because I do fancy a takeaway one night, I'm just like, I just don't know what to have. I know I want a takeaway because I'm just lazy and don't want to cook, but I don't know what to actually order. Too much choice.
How long did it take us to get round to food? This could have been anything. This could have been choice on any level, but we've managed to get it down to fast food.
In about 30 seconds, yeah.
Yeah.
You're welcome, everyone.
Yeah, but it is one of the first things I think of as a prime example is a menu.
Yeah.
So similar to what you said, if you got a menu now, you're absolutely right. This is something that I call choice paralysis, where you've got so much choice that it leaves you just flailing, not knowing what to do or how to do it. And then you've got extra options on top of that. So say, for example, with a menu, you've got the option, you've always got the option of just buggering off because you don't like anything at all. Then you've got, are we having starters? Are we having puddings? That's important. If you've got more than one person, which, you know, normally you'd have, so you've got 2 or more people, some people might want pudding, some people might want a starter. But they're not necessarily going to, you know, go with one option or the other until they know what the other person wants, and that's before you've even chosen from those sections.
Yeah.
I find, I don't know. I think making choices is easier on your own, but when it's something like that, trying to decide what takeaway you're going to have or what you're having from a restaurant, you've also got the other person to deal with as well.
Yeah.
And what you don't want is food envy.
I was going to say, is there food envy in there, or is there also a bit of self-consciousness that you don't want the other person to look at you differently because you've ordered something that they may not like? I don't know.
Oh yeah, I mean it's a fine balance, but then you've got to think about it. But it also depends on how hungry you are, because then you might look at the menu and think, right, okay, I've got to do this in such a way that I'm going to get the maximum amount of food.
Yeah, I've got to maximize my investment. Yeah.
Yeah. Or I'm going to do this in such a way that I know that I'm going to end up with chips.
Okay.
So say, for example, you think, oh, I fancy chips.
Yeah.
So I can't have a meal that doesn't come with chips. But what if somebody has something, or I would have a meal without chips, but if somebody has a meal that comes with chips, I know I'm going to be sat there thinking, wish I had some chips.
We just order it as a side.
Yes, but then you get the whole self-consciousness thing.
Go on.
Okay, for you and I, we'd probably go, throw some more chips in there.
I was going to say, I feel like I'm getting over that.
Extra chips.
Years go on. I'll have chips with a side of chips, please.
I'm kind of over that. But then the other thing, which is a bit of a trope, I suppose, is the other way around. So if you're dining with a lady and they say, oh, I don't want chips, or I don't want this or the other, and then you have some, and then they're like, oh, I could have a couple of your chips.
I'm literally like that. Get off my chips. Mine.
Yeah. And it's like, Joey doesn't share food.
But Joey doesn't share food. You want chips, you should have ordered some chips.
Yeah.
And you're literally like doing the old, garçon, some more chips here, please. Because the lady doth not order chips when she should have done.
Absolutely. That well-known saying.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah. So anyway, so you've got all of that. I mean, that's an absolute minefield anyway. And then you've got the pure choice of everything that's on the menu. I find it a lot easier if it's a small menu. I'm more confident with a small menu as well. If when it comes to the actual place. See, if I see, I went to the seaside. It sounds like a tongue twister there. I went to the seaside. She sells anyway. So I went to the seaside, and we were walking around looking at menus, as you do. And I used to do that a lot when I was young. I being dragged around by my parents whilst my dad would look at menus. It's like it almost became like a running joke. We don't go and eat. We go and look at menus, and we did for ages. We just go and look at all these menus. And there was one place. It's like, oh, it's got everything. It's got this and it's got that, and I'm like, no, that's too much. There's too much.
Yeah,
too many
to choose
options.
from. Yep.
Which means one of two things. One, I'm going to get choice paralysis. I won't know what to have, and I won't be the only one.
Mm-hmm.
And also, how do we know they're any good at actually making any of these things? Why do they have so many things on there? And if they've got so many things on there, you know that it's probably already pre-made, packaged, frozen, whatever it may be,
Throw it in
and
the
they're going to be
microwave for 10
utilizing a
minutes.
microwave an awful lot. Yeah.
So I think that quite a lot when you go somewhere and there's just endless choices and you're just like, but that tells me you're not specializing in anything. You're not kind of an expert. You're just, a generalist. You're an okay cook.
Yeah.
Or as I found out a few months ago, when you go to a Premier Inn, they literally just microwave the food. That's it. They don't cook it. Like the dinners and stuff, they don't cook it. It's just microwave.
Mm-hmm.
And you're like, oh, that's disappointing. I mean, it's not terrible food, but
yeah, that's one good thing about breakfast, because you can't really microwave bacon, can you?
no, I say at least breakfast is all cooked fresh, and
yeah,
like you say, you can't really get it. Well, you can get it wrong, but it's difficult. When you're a trained chef, it's difficult to get breakfast wrong, I think.
Well, even as a gifted amateur chef,
yeah,
I doubt very much I could get breakfast wrong. I mean,
no.
I mean, sometimes I'll go through a few eggs because I'm trying to do a fried egg, and the first one will be like, oh, broken yolk. So get rid of those. I'm not going to have those. Yeah,
it means your pan's too hot.
A little bit wasteful, but there we go.
Yeah, if you're breaking eggs, as soon as you crack breaking yolks, as soon as you crack the egg, it means your pan is too hot.
Yeah.
So I'm told.
Well, that would make sense because I'm usually cooling the pan. Not cooling. I'm not like throwing ice on it. I mean, the pan is cooling from a previous much hotter state.
Yeah.
But it's not quite where it needs to be yet. Do you have a gas hob or electric?
I'm electric.
I can't stand electric. Can't stand it.
I'm used to it.
It's just I know, but the problem is then I find myself having two hobs on. I've got one at lower temperature and one at higher temperature. Then I can quickly swap from one to the other.
Yeah.
Whereas with got, you all the options are there. Well, all the options. I mean, you can't. It's not like a furnace, but you've got you've got a little bit of a range.
So you've got low heat, medium heat, the gates of hell. I mean, I feel like that's how my electric hob operates a lot of the time. It's just like it's either on or it's off.
Yeah.
But the thing, it's one of those. I'm getting used to it. It's like if I want something to simmer, I know at a certain point I have to turn the temperature down to allow the heat to dissipate, and it can then simmer. And I'm just used to not burning stuff now. It doesn't make it right. It does mean that if I ever go back to a gas hob, I'm probably going to struggle. I would much rather a gas hob. No,
it's more electric. Turn off and onable.
I mean, I've been using an electric hob for the last 3 years. I'm just used to it.
Yeah.
Surprisingly, because I honestly don't spend all my money on takeaway. I can guarantee you that. I do actually cook things from time to time.
Yeah. Has been known. But yeah, so eggs. No, that's interesting. And it does make sense because normally the yolk's gone. I mean, it makes no difference. I mean, it doesn't matter how carefully I do it. So yeah, if it's too hot, that would make sense. Yeah. So I need to let it cool down a bit. The problem is, I've cooked all the other bits, so the egg is last.
Yeah.
Because I don't want a cold egg.
No, but that an egg only takes a few minutes.
Nothing worse than a cold egg.
But eggs only take a few minutes. So even if you finish
genocide's worse than the cold egg. Yeah.
Yeah.
There are a few things worse than the cold egg.
Not many though.
No.
I completely lost my train of thought.
Oh, so sorry. I threw genocide in there and put you up your stride.
started thinking about genocide and went,
Yeah.
um,
And now we're laughing about it.
yeah,
Ho, ho, ho.
green giant.
Yeah.
What was I saying? Oh yes, no, you know your eggs are only going to take a few minutes,
Yeah.
and so even if you're finished with your bacon and sausage and black pudding and whatever, you can just put them on a lower heat and they'll be fine.
Mm.
Yeah, they're not going to overcook. They'll be okay for 3 or 4 minutes while you fry an egg.
Oh no, I think the problem is it's all the same pan. You see,
Oh,
so it's not about yeah. So I'll be using the same pan. So it was hotter before, and then it needs to cool down.
Yeah,
but probably needs to cool down a little bit more.
Yeah, it needs to cool down
more beforehand.
Yeah, definitely needs to cool down more.
Yeah.
Okay, fair enough. I mean,
Yeah.
so I cook sausages and bacon on the grill pan, but not under the grill. Would you believe? I actually use the oven.
Right.
I put them in the oven, but because they're on the grill pan, so all the fat can drain out.
Yeah.
I'll try and be healthy. So yeah, I literally just put them in the oven for like 30 minutes, and
Yeah.
I've got nice crispy bacon, well cooked sausages. But I know that 5 minutes before they finish, I have to make an egg if I want an egg.
Yeah.
that's
Just the
it.
one.
Yeah, I'm not really an egg person.
Right. Okay.
And I was just about saying, actually, sometimes it tends to be a poached egg.
Right.
Just because I like poached eggs.
Well, I mean that's a completely different ball game altogether.
Oh, it really is.
Yeah.
It really is. Then you got to boil the water.
Mhm.
You got to put it in the pan, but the pan's got to be hot already, so the water doesn't go cold immediately. So you don't then have to reboil it on the hob. It's a whole thing. The whole logistical nightmare, and I feel like you've got to be like some kind of super logistics manager or project manager to understand the nuances of cooking.
Do you spin your water?
I do.
Good.
I don't put vinegar in the water. Some people do that.
Yeah.
It tastes
Do you
weird.
And again, just the one egg, is it?
Yeah, just.
It's a lot of work for one egg, though.
I have never mastered poaching 2 eggs at the same time.
It's you just do two. It's
Then
the same as doing one.
Then they just
literally
fall into one, and you're like,
they don't. They don't.
I've
I've
one.
never had that. Never had that.
Okay, well, I'm just doing.
Never had that problem.
I realise I'm doing something wrong.
Yeah.
So.
Well, the thing is, I like multiple eggs.
Okay.
So two or more eggs. For example, 3 eggs.
Okay.
But
really?
Yes.
Why not 4?
Yeah. But I've noticed that a lot of the time, if you get eggs, I mean, I normally reach for large eggs. That's probably a bit of a standard, isn't it? Get large eggs. But actually,
who buys medium eggs?
I do.
What a false economy!
It's not about economy; it's about eggs. The point is, if I'm frying eggs, so it's fried eggs. If I want 3 fried eggs, I can have 3 fried eggs, but because they're medium and not large, I don't end up with this big white 1 egg thing. Like I'll end up with like what looks like 1 big fried egg with 3 yolks.
Well, that's what happens to me when I'm poaching 2 eggs. I end up with 1 giant double yolked egg.
How do we get out of that? Get in the chat. Get in the chat. My idea when it comes to fried eggs is I'll do what did I just say? Medium size eggs, and that sort of gets me out of some of that trouble. And CJ's issue is he can't poach 2 eggs at once, but he doesn't like 2 eggs.
So I think that's partly why I'm happy with just 1.
Okay, because.
Less work.
Yeah. Mind you, what's the worst that could happen? You end up with 2 eggs kind of together.
Well, if I want 2 separate poached eggs because I want them on toast, it becomes a bit of a problem.
What, you mean 1 on each piece of toast? Yeah. Okay.
Okay. Anyway.
Yeah.
First world problems, everybody.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, in Africa, your kids are starving, and they wish they.
What's an egg?
That's it. They wish they could have a couple of poached eggs, even if it is mashed into one, because CJ can't cook.
I really fancy a poached egg now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We'll take a break, everyone. We'll be right back.
But then if you got your 2 eggs stuck together, what you could do is you could put the 2 eggs on 1 slice of toast, and then have the other slice of toast cut corner to corner and put on the sides, and then you've kind of concentrated everything onto one. That's how I would do. That's how I would do beans on toast or scrambled eggs on toast.
Fair enough. I
Yeah.
was going to suggest, the second slice of toast, just flip it over and put it on top, and make an egg toasty. But don't pick it up and eat it like a snack. You've still got to use a knife and fork, or else it'll go everywhere.
Yeah, I wouldn't do that.
No.
No.
Well, good job. I'm not you then.
Yeah.
And you're not me.
So anyway, choices. Going back to so menus. That's a problem. I think anywhere where there's two or more options. But I tell you what is interesting is the sort of choice architecture. There we go. Choice architecture that you get when it comes to picking like packages.
Mm-hmm.
So you're buying something online. It's like, well, okay, you can either have this for £4 a month, or you could have this for £6.50 a month. So it's like, oh, you got the bronze, you got the silver, and you got the gold packages, and they're priced in such a way that you think, well, I don't want the basic one. I've got to have the next one up. The difference in price is not significant, but the difference in terms of the things that I get, i.e., okay, if I go to silver, there won't be any ads, or whatever,
Yeah.
And then the gold is like, well, that's got everything, and that's not that much more than the silver. Yeah, I think that's a way of getting away from it. It's a bit of a trick, of course, but
yeah. I'll say having like the old bronze, silver, gold kind of mentality or levels of different things is a way to just make people spend more money.
But it's a way of making it easier for people as well.
True.
So it's a bit of a win-win. If you went to a restaurant, let's get back to food. If you went to a restaurant and they said, okay, we can have our bronze, silver, or gold package. And you're like, okay, I'm interested. Tell me about it. So bronze package, you get a meal. Any main meal, take your pick. And you're like, oh, any main meal? What do you mean? I could have eggs on toast, or I could have prawn curry. Yes, eat any main meal, bronze package. Like, okay, great. What's the silver package? Well, the silver package is slightly dearer, but you get a main meal, and you get a drink, and you get either a starter or a pudding. You're like, hang on. Oh, okay, but that's got to be worth it. I was going to have a drink anyway, because everybody does.
Yeah.
So for a little bit more than if I was buying a drink as well, I'm practically at the silver. So I may as well pay that little bit extra and get the silver, have the pudding or the starter as well. Or you got the gold. And the gold is like you've got a drink and you've got pudding and a starter, or maybe something else.
Okay.
I'm not sure how that helps, but it makes it easier then, because people will be like, okay, should we all go for the gold package? Everybody around the table goes, yeah, let's all go gold. And then at least you've got one of those things sorted. When it comes to the choice of, are we having pudding? Are we having this? Are we having that? Are we having a drink? How are we splitting the bill? That kind of thing. That's all taken out of the window. That's all out of the window. Then all they have to do is choose what they like.
Nice. Yeah. No, I get that. I've never come. Yeah, I mean that'll be an interesting way of doing that. I've never come across that in a restaurant.
Neither have I. I've just invented it.
Yeah, I was gonna say I feel like you've just invented something.
But you do get kind of similar things in a way, because I have seen this with menus where they say, okay, this is how it works, because they're like, okay, but this is really trendy. Have you eaten with us before? Okay, let me tell you how it works. And they'll say, okay, there'll be so the menu is more like an infographic. Yep. It's like, okay, step one, choose your meat. Yeah, I'll have beef. And like, step two, choose the the sauce, and we're like, I'll have oyster sauce, and then step 3 is choose your side, and you can do it like that. I think that's helpful.
I'll say that's quite a clever marketing ploy, isn't it? To
Mm.
kind of make you choose something. It's just like, right, it's this is easy. Don't sit there labouring over the menu. Just like you say, choose a meat, choose a sauce, choose a side, choose a dessert, choose a drink. There you go. 5 steps done, or whatever.
Nando's. Now, Nando's is an example of that. So, if I went to Nando's, I know exactly what I'd want anyway because I've worked it out. But again, it's like, what chicken do you want, and then what strength do you want? That's easy because you kind of work out what it is, and then it's do you want it with 2 sides? And like, well, if you're having 2 sides, then you only have to choose. Excuse me, you only have to then choose the sides. That makes it an awful lot easier than taking all the individual items and trying to work it out in your head. Okay, do I want that? Am I willing to pay for that? If I get that, will somebody else want some of this, and so on and so forth.
Yeah.
But it's not. You do have the choice of not having sides, but you're kind of directed towards having a side or 2 sides.
I was gonna say
if you're directed towards it, then it's just a simple, little nudge to say which side you want.
So you're almost made to feel bad if you don't choose a side.
Yeah.
It's that, but it's there and it's all built into the price. Therefore, you should have a side. And I always find it really weird when you do go to restaurants and you do ask for something that's a bit left field, and and they kind of look at you like you've just taken a shit on the table, and you're like, that's all I want is some onion rings, man. I know I'm ordering a curry, but I really want some onion rings, please. And they're like, okay.
Yeah, that would be weird.
But I like onion rings, okay? Don't give me no shit.
I tell you what I have talked about on this before, and that's the whole breakfast choosing your extra items or taking items away thing.
Yeah.
Now that really annoys me anyway. Again, it would be nice if there were packages. It would be nice if there was just a simple way of saying, mine's a 37.
Yeah.
And then all they need to do is look up what 37 is, even if it's pre-programmed, even if it's like a special.
Yeah.
That I've done. You work it all out. You set it all up. Say, okay, that's the code for that breakfast. It's like, okay, that's a TED breakfast. And then I can go in and say, mine's a TED 24, because they got 23 of the TEDs, for example. Mine's a TED 24, and they'll just go and make it.
I just assumed you at that point you've invented 24 breakfasts and they've named them all after you.
No, that would be far too confusing. Be like, okay, what one of my 24 breakfasts? Yeah. Which one is the one with the extra black pudding? I can't remember.
But I have to do that when I do order breakfast from somewhere, and they're just like, oh, full English breakfast. I'm like, yeah, that sounds great. Just no tomato, no mushrooms.
Mm-hmm. And
they look at you like, what? I'm like, you heard. No tomatoes, no mushrooms, thanks.
Yeah.
I'm good. But I'm like, seeing as you're taking away a protein, i.e. the mushrooms, feel free to add more protein to the meal, just not mushrooms.
Mm.
Sometimes they do. They'll throw like an extra bit of black pudding on or something for you if you're lucky. But yeah, it's just how they look at you like, but I don't like it. So it would be great if you offered an option that didn't have that. That would be awesome.
Yeah.
And then you won't have to look at me like I'm a weirdo.
Well, quite. But then when it comes to breakfast, the best option is always a buffet.
I agree.
Just makes life so much easier.
Yeah,
now, I on a few occasions, actually, I've been to, what's it called? Beefeater. So Beefeater, or Beefeaters, they do a breakfast, and it's a... How many times do we talk about breakfast on the show?
I feel like...
We must do it a lot.
I feel like it's not the Tuesday show if we're not talking about food.
Okay.
Sorry, everybody.
I thought you were going to say, I feel like it's not the Tuesday show, it's the breakfast show.
You know what? How's about a rebrand?
Yeah.
How's about a rebrand for the Tuesday show, and we'll just call it the
Tuesday breakfast show.
Friday night breakfast.
Yeah. Friday night breakfast.
Sorry, my mic arm's gone a bit weird now. I shouldn't have done that. There we go.
No, you shouldn't have done that.
No, shouldn't have done that. Yeah, we should rebrand Friday. What do you reckon, everybody? Get in the chat. Let us know. Friday night breakfast. All 6 of you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Friday night breakfast with
Fatso and Ted.
with bacon and bread.
Bacon and bread.
Bacon and bread. So anyway, what was I saying?
Also known as a sandwich.
Also known as a sandwich. What the hell is an open sandwich? I mean, that's all. You don't hear about it anymore, but people used to talk a lot about open sandwiches. I think it was a thing in the sort of 70s and 80s. And people say, "Oh, would you like an open sandwich?" It's basically just something on bread.
I would say they've basically given you 2 slices of bread. One slice has all the stuff on it, and then there's just another slice laying next to it. It's like, is it really that difficult?
No, it was more open than that. There wasn't another slice. It was. Does anybody remember that term? Get in the chat. Do you remember open sandwiches? It was definitely a thing.
I know. It sounds like it got reinvented in the early 2010s in deconstructed food, like a deconstructed burger. And it's basically just the pieces of a burger laid out on a plate, and you're like, because you are so lazy, you cannot be bothered to stack it, and drive a freaking stick through the top to hold it together, like a normal restaurant.
I mean, or use plates. Then they start bringing you everything on a wooden slab or a bit of slate. Or
who's serving food on? Why are you serving food on a slate?
Yeah,
get a plate.
And lots of different individual compartments. You got your steak on a slate. You got your
your chips are in a little basket.
Chips in a basket.
It's like chips that come in a little basket that looks like it goes into a deep fry, like a mini deep fryer for fries, and you're like, just put them in a bowl or put them on the plate next to the constructed burger, please.
Yeah, vegetables in a vase. It's like, no, stop it, give me a plate.
Yeah, I don't get it. I mean, I have quite simple taste when it comes to food anyway. I'm not into all this, fancy dining, like you say, things turning up on a slate or a cutting board. It's basically, they give you food on a breadboard. Like they've made you a sandwich and just made it on the breadboard and then just I've run out of plates. Take the whole breadboard out. It'll be there you go. That's what you're eating off of today. And someone's gone, this is a great idea. I'm going to do this in my restaurant. And there you go. You've got yourself a trend.
Yeah. Not a great one either.
Oh.
The thing that what was I talking about? Breakfast. So buffet breakfast. That was it. Beefeater. Yes, now I know what I was talking about. So I've been to the Beefeater. So it's quite good because they do a unlimited. Well, they call it unlimited breakfast. And I think it's something like $10.99 or something.
Not bad.
No, less than that, or something. Not bad. Whatever it is, it's that. So it's whatever you choose in terms of a cooked breakfast.
Yep.
Plus, pretty much unlimited, toast or croissants and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
Which is great. What's even better is that kids eat free, up to 2 per adult.
Nice.
So you could have 1 adult, 2 children go and eat unlimited breakfast. The problem I find is when it comes to the cooked breakfast, you order at the table. So they come along and take the order. So let's say, for example, I'm sat there and I'm thinking to myself, oh, I quite like some, I tell you what, I'll have 2 sausages and I'll have 3 bacon, 3 eggs. Yeah, I'll have, something else like that and whatever. Because you're thinking unlimited. Yep. It's only 1 round.
Is
so
it?
Like, you got to be, yeah.
That's not unlimited.
It's not. I mean, but you can choose whatever you want.
Okay.
12 sausages and 14, yeah.
Unrestricted 1 round of breakfast.
Pretty much, yeah.
Okay.
So you do that. The problem is, you do it, your kids that eat free do it as well. And then it arrives. But whilst you're waiting for it, you're having a little bit of toast. You got that. Oh, they've got honey. Then you got blah, 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 blah. And then by the time the food comes, you're like, okay, right, I might not eat as much as I first thought. And that could be everybody at the table. How much food is actually wasted?
Oh, loads.
Whereas if they just brought it out in a buffet, people are not going to eat that much.
Nope.
That it becomes less cost efficient.
Nope.
It really wouldn't. And it would be easier than bringing it to the table.
I think that's why I like Premier Inn and their unlimited breakfast, because it is, a la carte. Is that a la carte? No, buffet. Sorry, you just go and help. A la carte's the other one that you just described. It is buffet. You just go and help yourself, and but you do that with the cooked and the continental. But actually, in some restaurants where they do come and take your order at the table, I feel like the trick is don't touch the continental, because you've just ordered a lot of protein, and a lot of heavy fatty food. You don't need to fill up on croissants and anything like that. So just avoid the continental.
It's difficult because when you turn up, you've got all these things just sat there, and you're hungry. That's the hungriest. That's probably the hungriest you'll be all day.
I mean, you say that. It's rare that I'm hungry before 10 a.m. Whether or not I eat breakfast, it's rare that I'm hungry before 10 a.m. I'm not a breakfast eater. And this is the weird thing, I love breakfast. Like cooked breakfast, sausages, bacon, black pudding, hash browns, toast. Even put a pot of baked beans on there, and I'll be content. I absolutely love it, but I don't like eating it for breakfast. I don't like eating breakfast. It's weird. I'm a weird person.
I can't disagree with you. But you did bring up something, which is the one exception to this whole what I said about bringing the food out, deconstruct it in lots of different containers. If there's beans, like I will always order a breakfast without beans because I don't want beans touching the rest of my food.
Me too.
Right? And sometimes it will come with beans because people don't listen. So I end up with the food, with the beans. But if it comes in beans in its own little pot, that's fine.
Mm-hmm.
If I then decide, I might have a couple of beans towards the end, then fine. But
yeah, I tend not to order beans if I can help it. I tend not to order them.
Yeah.
If they're there, like I say, I'll eat them. It's like It's like most things. If you put it in front of me, I'm probably going to eat it. I don't like mushrooms. But if you put them in front of me, I'm probably going to eat them. I will mix them in with other things to disguise the texture and flavour, but I'll eat them. Tomatoes, it depends on how they come. I don't like fried tomatoes. I don't like tinned tomatoes, like chopped tomatoes. Well, I mean, put chopped tomatoes in a spaghetti bolognese. I'm all over it. Love it. But I don't understand how people can have soggy, bloated tomatoes on their plate for breakfast.
Yeah.
It's disgusting. It doesn't look even remotely appetizing.
A lot of it's about presentation. It's about the order of things. Mm-hmm. So to me, when it comes to breakfast, there should be the eggs. Eggs should be on top of a carb. So either fried slice or hash browns.
Yeah, put them on top of hash browns.
That's a given. If there's toast, I'm probably not going to just eat toast. But if there's toast, I'd rather have that on the plate. I'd rather have the tomato on the toast. Preferably a grilled tomato.
Yeah, see, I'm not even
turned over on the toast. No, it's fine. And then that goes quite nicely with sausages. But as for beans, I quite like beans on toast.
I like beans on toast.
Yeah,
with cheese.
Yeah. No, don't. Never let it be said that I don't. I won't eat the bean, but
oh.
But I don't like beans with breakfast.
Too many jokes, not enough time.
Absolutely. It's difficult to make make a decision which joke, and bring us right back to our topic, which I think we'd both forgotten.
I was gonna say we're 42 minutes in, and I'd completely forgot what we were supposed to be talking about.
Yes, we're talking about breakfast or something. No,
Yeah,
we're talking about choices.
Yeah, decision-making choices.
Yeah.
So, I mean, what do you think you'd be happier if you had less choice?
Yes.
Okay.
Always. If there's fewer options, one, I've got more confidence in the things in the first place, as demonstrated by the what do we call it?
Breakfast shenanigans.
Yeah, that's right. And secondly, it's just easier to make that decision.
Okay.
Now the thing is, there are so many, like for example, online shopping. If you want to buy something online, what most people do these days is they go to Amazon.
Yes.
Yep. And the good thing about that is you type in, I need a hook for the back of the door. And you type that in, and then it'll give you a load of hooks.
I'm going to do that right now.
Yep.
Hook.
Now, I bet you it'll have a recommended.
For the back of the door.
And you'll get something that's not too expensive, that will be delivered the next day. And you think, oh, that's slightly cheaper than I thought it was going to be.
Yeah, £6.99 bestseller, self-adhesive hooks, extra sticky and strong. Hang up to 6 kilograms. Heavy duty stick on, no nail hook for back of door, black 4-pack.
Okay. Next move is click into basket.
Add
Now that was
basket.
easy. That was easy.
But now I've also got an offer. Save 5% on any 4 qualifying items.
Okay.
So now I'm going to be like, oh, I can save 5% if I buy 3 other things as well.
Yeah. Also, when you do that, it'll say at the bottom, about a couple of 2/3 down, it'll say something along the lines of, people who bought these hooks also bought this, and this.
Oh, you know what? I play a bit of a game. Whenever I go shopping on Amazon, I play a bit of a game with myself.
I don't think we want to know about that.
No, I don't play with myself. I play games with myself.
Mm.
And it literally comes in, and it's to look at the frequently bought together list. So just underneath the first bit of the top, underneath the pictures and that, it always says frequently bought together. And I love looking at some of the things that get frequently bought together. This one is, okay, this one's a bit boring. It's got self-adhesive hooks, which I've obviously chosen. Then it goes, Command picture hanging strips, value pack, 8 pairs of medium, and it's 8 pairs of large. Yeah, fine. And then Command medium designer hook for a 2-pack of hooks, 4 adhesive strips. Oh, okay, fair enough. I get that. But I don't know. Think of any other product in the world. Someone in the chat, give me a product to search for on Amazon. I realize you can't see this, but give me anything.
Yeah, just for fun.
Yeah, just for the hell of it.
Yeah.
I'll tell you what. Let me look through my search history. What have I been searching
look
for?
Look for duct tape. See if you got cable ties to go with it.
Yeah.
Because that's literally something that I bought.
All right. Duct tape. There we go. Amazon Choice, £3.99, 3M duct tape. Let's go in there. And frequently bought together, Arvo packing tape, parcel tape, and Smith packaging, 10 large, strong cardboard packaging move boxes.
Now, the boxes make sense.
With duct tape?
Actually, they don't. No, they don't make sense. None of that makes sense.
That's it, with duct tape? That makes no sense.
CJ, this is a massive fail.
It really is.
Why would you buy packing tape and duct tape?
I don't know. Here we go. 2 gang extension lead. That's something that I bought and I searched for. So purchase. There we go. September 24. So you've so 2 gang extension lead, because that's what I bought. I needed a 2 gang extension lead, so I bought that for like £4. Frequently bought together is master plug BFG 1 blah 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 4 socket extension lead 1 meter, and a master plug 4 socket extension lead 5 meter. I'm confused who's buying those together. Surely you just want one
Yeah.
of a certain length.
Yeah.
It just doesn't. I don't know. Maybe that one does make a bit more sense. USB MIDI adapter. That's something else I searched for. Okay, Amazon Choice USB MIDI adapter. Frequently bought together. Yeah, MIDI cables, USB MIDI cable. Yeah, okay, fine. That one makes sense. Okay,
Yeah.
now I'm struggling to find the crazy examples that I have been finding when I'm playing this game.
Rope
Stuffed
and
banana.
small stool.
Well, I searched for a stuffed banana the other day.
Oh yeah.
There's a story behind that.
I'm sure there is.
Is this? Oh, this doesn't have a frequently bought together.
Oh.
No, it just says product technical information. Not
Well, there you go.
technical details. 14 by 7.5 by 16 centimeters, 50 grams. And I'm like, this isn't technical. This is just dimensions.
But yes, so Amazon. That's one. I mean, many other. Well, not many other, but other possibilities are out there for online shopping. But the going back to that phrase, choice architecture, it sort of funnels you in such a way that you come to a decision, not based on looking at a whole raft of things. Do you remember back in the day, back in my day, we used to have before you'd look online for a car, there was the Auto Trader as an actual like magazine. Yeah,
Auto Trader magazine. Yeah,
I think they were done by price or however it was done. But you know what? Particularly as a boy or as a man, there's hours of fun. Just sat there, right? Okay, what car would I have from this page? What car would I have from this page? Start again with the whole thing. If I had £5,000, which car would I buy?
Yeah,
and so on. Yeah, it's a crazy amount of choice, but it's not something you can sort of narrow down. It's not something as simple as that. It's not something that's going to, turn out to be $3.99 and it'll be delivered tomorrow and it's brand new. It's something that requires a lot more thinking about because it's okay, so it's a car. How many miles has it done? Where is it? How far away is it? And so on and so forth. And you got the same thing with things like Facebook Marketplace, or Auto Trader or eBay or things like that.
Say anything like that now, yeah.
Anything. But yeah, buying a car, that's a crazy one because you've got the miles, you've got the where it is, you've got what color it is, who's selling it. Does the person who's selling it seem like a trustworthy sort of person?
Would you buy a used car from this guy?
Absolutely. Particularly with Facebook Marketplace, it's a weird one, isn't it? Because you click on it and then you can see the person. It's like, okay, then you're going into, down this sort of rabbit hole of, okay, what are they? Let's click on them and then we'll see what else they're selling. It's like, they're selling 30 other cars. It's like, hang on, that's a bit dodgy.
That's it. Well, that's it. They're selling 30 cars and they joined Facebook last month. That's when you kind of go, maybe not. Maybe not. But see, I also have that same problem with eBay. You just don't know what you're getting. You just don't know what you're buying into. At least when you buy, and maybe this is where I am a bit of a snob when it comes to buying things online. I like to buy brand new because I know what I'm getting, or I have a better idea of what I'm getting, and there's a higher chance that what I'm buying is going to be serviceable. And also, when I buy from Amazon, if I don't like what I've received, I can just send it back, and it's so much easier. I bought a few things over the last few weeks. I bought a graphics tablet, so a little thing that plugs into the USB on my computer, and I can draw on it. With a pen as part of my university thing. And I bought this thing for like 50 quid, thinking, it's got raving reviews, people love it. Didn't have many negative reviews. Always check the negative reviews, everybody. It didn't have many negative reviews. So I was like, okay, I'll buy this thing. That's great. And I plugged it in. It was trash, jittery. I couldn't draw anything. I'm like, I can do better with my mouse.
Yeah.
This thing was awful. And then I was like, right, let's just read the instructions. Oh, okay, there's a driver for it. All right, I'll download and install the driver, and then I'll restart the computer and then go and try it again. No, it's still the same. The driver made no difference, and I was just like, nope, send it back. Literally, I'll immediately, the same day I received it, I'm back on Amazon. I'm going, return. Why do you want to return it? Doesn't work as expected. Okay, we'll send you a refund. Here's your QR code. Go to your every drop-off thing and send it back. Literally, it went straight back in the same box, in the same bag, and I took it to the shop the next morning and dropped it off.
Yeah.
And that was it. So easy. And I got the refund 2 days later. It's just so easy with Amazon. They've made it so simple that even if you don't like what you've got or you don't want what you've got anymore, you can just send it back. No, it's almost a no questions asked. You know, they do say, why are you sending it back? You don't actually, I don't think you have to give a reason. I think you can just go, no, I just don't want it. Just take it back.
Fair enough.
And it's literally no questions asked. It's crazy.
Yeah.
And then they wonder why Amazon are basically taking over the world when it comes to online, or have taken over the world when it comes to online shopping. Or buying anything online. They'll just take it back and shove it in their warehouse and then sell it against somebody else.
Yeah.
That's literally all they do. They'll just sell it to someone else.
So, what do you think then? Do you think having lots of choice? I mean, I don't know, because you have got lots of choice with Amazon or online shopping generally. I should be saying, you have got a lot of choice, and I think there are ways in which that choice is made easier by the fact that you can search and you can have suggestions given to you and such like. But I don't know. Does that make it easier? Or if you went even online, and it said, okay, there are three options for you, would that make it easier?
I think things would be easier with less choice, depending on what you're buying. I mean, because it's like when you get into like big things like cars, and you know, people have different tastes, and I think it's nice that there is such a wide array of vehicles to choose from.
Yeah.
You know, which you can figure out based on cost or mileage or distance, and you know, even just shape and how it looks. You know, I won't say that was how I landed on the decision to buy my car, but it was a factor. I was like, I like how it looks. I've driven one before; they're comfortable. You know, that's basically why I then got my car. But something like this. So this is something I bought on Amazon. This is a USB-A to USB-B cable.
Right.
And I was like, I need one of those. Go to Amazon. They'll be cheap as chips. Took me about half an hour to choose this one because there were so many different brands and versions, and I'm just like, well, what's the right choice? I don't know what the right one is.
Yeah.
I just need a USB-A to USB-B cable. That's it. Yeah, I don't need anything spectacular. I don't need gold-plated. I don't need interference resistance. I'm just like, give me a freaking USB cable that I can plug into my PC and then plug into my printer, and that's it. That's all I need. Yeah, pieces. That's all I want out of it. And it took me about half an hour to get to that one.
See, now, if you walked in, let's say you walked into Tandy.
Tandy?
Well, it could be, let's say some...
Are we back in the 90s?
For the purpose of this, you're walking into Tandy. It's a parallel universe.
Okay.
You walk in and you say, right, okay, I want a USB, that thing.
Yep.
And you go to the shelf, and there's two options. There's the one which is sort of more branded, and then you've got the, store brand one. And there's about £2 worth of difference. And then that's it. You got to pick one of them.
If they are basically exactly the same, I'm going store brand.
Right, you're done.
I'll save the couple of quid. Yeah.
That's it. You're done. And also, that's not taking you half an hour.
No. No.
But if you were perhaps, all right, let's say you're not you. Let's say you're somebody else who's not probably as pernickety or likely to, scan around for lots of different options on that thing. And they go USB to USB-A lead. And then it comes up with recommended this. Okay, that fits the bill. Click. Done. That's even quicker.
It's also really dangerous.
Yeah.
But I've read some articles and seen some news stories where some people, some sellers on Amazon, they get their bestseller or their recommended status by constantly changing the products.
Right.
So basically, like it'll be some like random company in China, for example. They've made 10,000, I don't know, USB cables. They've sold all of them, but rather than create a new listing for a new product, they'll just go in and change the existing one. So they get to keep all their ratings, they get to keep all the sales metrics, and all they've done is create a new product and just listed that under the same thing, but they just changed the name on it. So actually, a lot of the time, if you go through and look at some of the reviews on those products, they're actually not for what you think you're buying.
Really?
Yeah, it's really dodgy. But the other one is bots posting reviews for products.
Yeah.
People will get their bestseller or recommended or Amazon recommends thing because there are bots that are basically posting reviews online. I think Amazon are getting better at that one. I think they're getting better at controlling that. But that was a big problem for a while. But yeah, a lot of them are. And the way to spot them, on one of the videos I was watching, the way to spot them is look at the brand name. And if it's like a load of what appears to be like random letters, there's not really a discernible word for the brand name, it's likely to be one of these businesses that just, they'll sell a load of stuff, change the name, change the product, sell a load more, but they get to keep all the reviews because of it. And then any new reviews that come in after they've changed it still go on to that same product. And all the good reviews just go, yeah, this product's great. I love this. This was a really smart choice. Does exactly what it says on the tin. Exactly what I'm looking for. And when I'm looking at reviews and I see lots of reviews that say, "Oh, it does exactly what it says it's going to do," I'm like, "Okay, yeah, you've told me nothing. That's not a helpful review."
Yeah.
Thank you.
It doesn't even give away what the product might be.
Exactly. You're not even telling me what you've reviewed.
Yeah.
So yeah, keep an eye out for that, everyone. It is a thing. I'm sure Amazon are working on it. But that is a thing. And I've seen it firsthand as well. It's it's got to be a bit careful, because I've done it before where I've gone to buy something and I've gone through the reviews and I'm like, hang on a minute, this review isn't even anything to do with the thing I'm looking at.
Yeah.
And then I'll like scroll back up to the top because maybe they do like different options sometimes for these products. Like you'll get a cable that's 1 meter, 5 meters, 10 meters, or whatever. And I'm like, no, that what they're talking about in the review doesn't even exist as an option in this thing. And you kind of go, yeah, that's why, because they've just changed it.
There you go. Buyer beware.
Yeah, buyer beware. We are nothing if not informative on this show.
We are indeed nothing. Yes, nothing if not informative. Yeah. So there's a really good example of. I don't know. Have we decided the choice is a good thing or a bad thing?
I think we need choice, but we don't need as much choice.
Would life be easier if we delegated? I suppose that is a way of delegation, isn't it? If you use some kind of search engine, even if you including Amazon as a search engine in a way, because you type in what you want and it'll find it. If that makes sense.
Yeah.
But do you think life would be easier if other people made some choices for you?
I think
For
so.
example, if you had a personal assistant, he said, right, you work out how the week's going to go, rather than me having to sit there, make decisions about it.
Yep.
You do it, and I'll just go with the flow.
Yep. You tell me what meetings to attend and I'll be there. Yeah, it does make your life easier. It really does. And you can take that, let's take it back to food. You have let's say you're fortunate enough to have, a housekeeper or a chef or whatever, and they just do it for you. You just go, "Oh, what's for lunch today, chef?" And he goes, "Oh, tomato soup and croutons." Wicked. Sounds great. Thank you. Goes back to that thing I said right at the start with this other YouTuber. He just calls his wife and went, "Yeah, we're having Mexican tonight," and she's like, "Yeah, cool, wicked." That's it. You've removed the choice.
Yeah.
And everyone's happier for it.
Yeah.
No, I feel like we need to start a dictatorship.
Yeah.
You don't get a choice anymore.
I think that's already started, right?
Yeah. You don't get a choice anymore. You're smashing rocks for the rest of your life.
Yeah.
Okay. Fine.
Yeah, but you can choose the big rocks or little rocks. Oh, good.
I don't know which to choose.
Yeah. Well, this is it. Yeah, sometimes it's about giving the people the illusion choice.
Yeah, I agree.
It's like a trick. Now, I think I mentioned this before on a previous podcast, but certainly when working in sales, sometimes when you give a choice, you're sort of trying to, again, it's funneling. It's saying, well, okay, you can have this, or you can have this, and very often when you're giving somebody options like that, they'll tend to cling on to the last thing you've said.
Yeah.
Particularly, people like to go for the middle ground as well, don't they? So, like, say for example, you look at a wine list, and you think, well, okay, what shall I have? Well, I can't get the cheapest one.
I can't be seen to be buying the cheapest.
I can't buy the most expensive. I don't know what the fuck the others are. So what I'll do is I'll go for the second to least expensive.
Yeah. It's almost like it's a bit of a sales tactic, isn't it? When you give, I assume, you go, well, look, you can have option A, which is the cheapest. It's this. You can have option B, which is this. But you can have option C, and option C is really quite a good choice for you, I think, because it comes with this, and this, and the others might have something similar, but it's not quite option C. And then you kind of go, well, option C then.
You don't even have to, like, say for example, well, this is a good example of it. Like, when trying to get somebody's budget, because that's always the hardest thing. If you're in a sales situation, if you can find out what somebody's budget is, then you know what you're dealing with, and you can try and sell them something just under their budget.
Yeah.
And one way of doing that is by saying, look, some people can are in a position to be able to pay this amount, which is a bit lower. Some people are in a lucky position to be able to pay this much, and then most people are this area in the middle. Certainly, I know I am. Where would you see yourself in this? And then people go, oh, in the middle.
Right.
Like, okay, what, towards the top end of the middle, or the bottom end of the middle, or somewhere in the center? Oh, somewhere in the center. Okay, great. So we could say about this much. Oh yeah, probably about that. Like, if you just said, okay, what's your budget? They were like, I don't know. I don't really have a budget. I haven't really thought about it. The
last time somebody at work asked me what my budget was, like a cold call, got to the point where they can ask me what my budget was. I was like, I'm not telling you. Well, why not? Because I don't want you to know how much money I have available to spend. You just tell me what you're trying to sell, and I'll tell you if I'm interested, and then we'll figure out the price afterwards. Okay? It really disarms some of them as well. It gets them, really puts them on the back foot sometimes. Not all the time, but it's that. I mean, actually, to be fair, these days, if someone cold calls me, I just go, sorry, I don't take cold calls.
Well, the thing when it comes to budget is, the simple answer is, well, it doesn't matter what the budget is. The fact of the matter is, I want to know what it's going to do for me.
Yeah, that's it. I want to know what it is.
Tell me what it's going to do for me, and I'll work out how much that is worth to me. That's the way that it should work.
Yep.
If you've got a particular problem, I'm not going to come along with a particular problem and a budget. I'm going to come along with a problem.
Yeah.
There's never any budget for a problem.
No, and that's it. It's really it's interesting when like I say, I do get a lot of sales calls every week through work, and most of the time now I do just go, sorry, I don't take cold calls. But historically, when I have tried to engage, and before I've realised it is absolutely a hard selling cold call, and they do things like and I'm like, look, just tell me what it is you're trying to sell. I'll tell you if I'm in the market for it, and then we'll meet somewhere in the middle. But then if and I've taken some of those, and I've gone to like present them as a paper to the board or whatever, and said, look, this is a good idea. And then especially when it comes to like cybersecurity, that's a fun one actually, because I quite enjoy trying to sell that back to a business. because they go, oh, how much is this new fancy tool going to cost us? And I'm like, well, tell me this: what value do you put on our data? What value do you put on us protecting our environment? And they go, and I'm like, there you go. It shouldn't actually matter at this point. Just trust me when I tell you I'm being sensible about it. And I know how much money we have to play with for this, so don't worry. I'm not going to go over that. But I can't tell you how much it's going to cost, or I don't want to tell you how much it's going to cost because you're going to tell me it's too much.
Yeah.
But at which point I then say, well, again, what value do you put on protecting our business data? What value do you put on us continuing to operate as a business? Because if we get some kind of cyber incident or whatever, we could lose everything and we could cease to operate because of it. So you tell me what value you put on that. And they tend to shut up after that. So.
Yeah. Yeah. So, what were we talking about?
Choices. Bex has been in the chat, though. I think we should have a look at that.
Okay, super.
Sometimes might be a case of needing more self-control rather than less choice. But anyone that knows me, that's not an option. I just don't do self-control. I have no self-control.
No. Well, you said earlier you've been on a bit of a spending spree. You didn't have to make any choices. You just went, I'm going to have it all.
I just went, I need a printer cable. I need drums. I need something else.
Mic stands.
Yeah. Don't give away everything that I bought. Jeez.
No, okay.
Christ.
Who is Mike Stands anyway?
Don't know. It's that stand-up guy, so I hear.
Yeah.
Oh, you can't see it. You can't see it. Surely not.
Yeah.
It's a Shure microphone on a Shure microphone stand. That was the joke. Everyone.
Sure it is. Sure it is. Needing more self-control. I don't know. Is it needing more self-control? I think this is about you're going to have something. You're going to make a choice. But literally, how many options, and whether or not taking away those options is a good thing, even if it's delegating that, as we say, to somebody else to make those decisions for you. Like, for example, what was I going to say? When people make what do you call them? Shoppers, not mystery shoppers. The other one, the personal shoppers.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, I've always thought that sounds like a ridiculous idea. Oh, I've got a personal shopper, or their job is a personal shopper. But actually, it does kind of make a bit more sense, because then you're going to somebody and saying, okay, what I need is some outfits. Can you sort out some outfits for me? And then they'll go out and buy whatever you require. They'll make all the decisions, and they'll work it out on the basis of what's going to suit you, and then come to you with the various options.
Yeah.
And it kind of takes it out of your hand. And then they'll be turning up and saying, look, here's 2 pairs of trousers. Which one do you prefer? It's like, oh, okay, I prefer these ones.
Yeah.
And you might say, I prefer these ones, but yeah, they look good in the grey as well.
There's a TV show that I really love called Rules of Engagement. And it's basically a married couple, an engaged couple, a single guy, and just comedy shenanigans. And like the married couple, like they're about to go out somewhere, and the wife is like, oh, I'm going to just try on a few different things and you tell me which one you like. And the husband just comes in and he goes, I'll save you some time. The first one. It's literally that. You're just like, I've got 2 pairs of trousers for you. Which do you prefer? The first one. Okay. Just give me a pair and let me put them on and we're good. Okay. There's almost an element of trust that has to go into it as well, where you just kind of go, I trust what you've bought for me. So just give it to me. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, crazy.
Yeah, so that's the way to do it. Have a personal shopper.
So I need a personal shopper, a personal trainer, a personal assistant, a personal person, and a personal purse.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, there you go.
And a Labour peer to pay for all your stuff.
Sure, whatever that means.
Yeah. Anyway. Yeah. So here's another one. This is a bit more controversial.
Uh-oh.
It's not that
I
controversial.
say, surely not. Controversy on the Tuesday show on a Friday night.
No.
How dare you, sir.
No. Another place where people are perhaps given too much choice, too many options, is the is the weird world of dating apps.
Okay.
Now, that is somewhere where there's an awful lot of different options. I don't mean in options there's lots of different options in terms of apps. I know that.
Yep.
But when on one, there is lots of different options, or there are lots of different options. Too many?
Yeah.
What do we think?
No, far too many. Well, I've had a saying for a very long time of that I refuse to be an option when I've made somebody a priority. And what I feel dating apps does is it turns everybody into an option.
Mm-hmm.
Literally, I've seen and heard of people just which way do you swipe if they're somebody you're interested in, left or right? Right if they're right. Whatever. You swipe in a direction to say that you're interested, and people will just swipe for every person in that direction. Literally, just going, I am casting the widest net possible to give myself options, and you're like, no, that's not the point. You're clear, unless you're just looking for hookups, then fine, get on whatever hookup apps are out there, and do that. But if you're actually trying to find a connection with somebody and find somebody to spend a long time with, surely you want to be reading, talking, getting to know them, not just casting this wide net to catch as much as you can. That just seems ridiculous to me. Because then you do have too many options. If even 10% of the 5,000 people you've just swiped right on come back to you, you're like, oh, now I've got too much option. I don't know who to talk to or what to do or what to say. I mean, I guess you get to like an interview process. You just kind of go, well, I've cast a wide net. Some people have come back to me. Now I get to go through the initial interview stages and, can almost, filter through, the crap and be left with maybe only a handful of options. But again, we're still back to, but they're options. They're not. I don't know.
No, absolutely.
Dating apps don't make sense to me. I've used them many years ago, and they're not for me. They're just not for me.
The thing is, I think a lot of it sorts itself out anyway in terms of options. It's not as though you're going to get, loads and loads and loads of matches, and then there's like lots of people sort of real sort of absolute cluster of trying to work out from that, because the kind of natural natural sort of way of things is that men will end up with fewer options based on their swiping than the women will.
Okay.
Because they're more likely to be swiped right, whereas the men are more likely to be swiped left.
I'll take your word on that.
Yeah.
Women, is that true? Let us know in the comments.
Yeah, well, they wouldn't know if it's true or not because they'll only see one side of it, and that's the thing. You'll only ever see one side of it. But the thing with the choices is, sort of back in the day, people would you'd live in a village, and if you were sort of a average sort of a person of, let's say, pick a day. Let's say you're an average 25-year-old man in a village. The chances are there's probably going to be an average, let's say, 25-year-old girl in the village as well.
Hmm.
Therefore, there are going to be far fewer options, and they will be more likely to actually get into a relationship. Whereas when you have dating apps, what you immediately do is you open up from not just the village, but basically the town or the county or the country, or even if you're talking in extremes, the entire world.
Mm-hmm. I was going to say the internet has made it possible to date worldwide now.
Absolutely. Which means that if you're a pretty girl in a village, you're a pretty girl that belongs to the entire world. And pretty much anybody could end up matching with you and saying, hey, come to my village, come to my town, come to my country.
Come get into my panel van. I have sweets.
Yes.
Don't say that, people.
No. But do feel free to clip that little bit that CJ said
Clip it.
and use it against him. But yes, the net is casted. Casted?
Cast.
But you cast the net.
Mm-hmm. The net has been cast.
Much wider.
Mm.
But what that does, it reduces the amount of choice that people have got in a smaller area.
True. I mean, my example was quite extreme. It's the, like I say, people who do just go through and swipe, they'll go, search the entire country for someone, swipe right, and
Mm-hmm.
it's that, like you say, cast a wide net, you're bound to catch something. Probably an STD at that rate, but, you're going to catch something. But yeah, it's made it more accessible for people who are more isolated. Like you say, if you are in a very small area with very few options, the internet has opened that out for people, which is a good thing.
It's not a good. Well, okay, I'm not going to say it's not a good thing. I'm going to say, is it a good thing though?
I think so.
Why?
Because it's allowing more choice. You're not limited to, that one person in the village who just happens to be around the same age as you, and you don't feel like you have to date them because of that reason. You can go, well, actually, no, I now have a much broader pool to choose from. It's the problem is when we talk about choice, like the reason companies like, okay, we're going back to food, but the reason companies like Audi and Lidl are so successful is because they don't give you a choice. You want bread, there's your bread. You've got two options. You go Tesco's, you've got 15, and you're like, I don't know which one I should be buying here. You want you want some fried chicken. There's your one option. You don't have 10. And that's why they're so successful, because people can just go in, get what they need, and get the F out.
Yeah.
Whereas you're in Tesco and you end up going, oh, but this one's a bit cheaper. Oh, but they don't look quite as big, though, and they don't look quite as... I'll look at... I'm just not really... No, one choice. It's right there. Pick it up and get out. If you don't want it, piss off. And they literally treat you like a number. You're not a person when you go into Audi and Lidl. You are a number. Get in, get what you need, get the hell out. Give us your money and get out.
Yeah.
But it's different when it comes to other choices. Like I say, I've used cars as an option, as an example. I mean, okay, yes, there was a time when you could only buy one type of car, the Ford Model T. That was it. That was your choice. It comes in black or black. So you don't get a choice, and people were content. But then to create competition, other models were designed and built and sold.
Yeah,
and people suddenly go, actually, this becomes more like an extension of my personality, or it's an extension of my self-expression. I drive a car that suits my personality, or that I like the look of, the comfort of, the cost of, the economy of. Like I say, when I chose my car, I bought it because I love how it looks. They are comfortable, and it's relatively economic. Wasn't cheap. That's the only other bit I'll add to that. It wasn't cheap, but it's going to last me for years. And that's But without that choice, I might have just ended up buying another smart car, or I wouldn't have sold my smart car to begin with. I would have kept it.
Well, I'll come back to what you said a moment ago, because that was quite interesting.
Which bit? I said a lot of things then.
One bit. I mean, most of it wasn't. But I want to acknowledge the chat for a moment. Bex has said, "Good example of needing more self-control," and I think she's referring to dating apps.
Yeah.
And surely men only see one side too, though. Well, yes, they do.
I agree with that, and I was thinking as you were talking about, the differences between men and women and dating, and the fact that women, when I said, women tell us, is that true? And you said women only see one side. It's like, well, you're only seeing the other side, really.
Yeah.
So everything that you said is completely subjective, objective.
Well, yes,
I don't know,
but I mean,
may or may not be true.
There are objective studies that have done. Because of course, there's no great mystery. It's not secret what one side sees and another side sees. It's quite easy to see that.
Yeah.
But it's not okay. So the experience is different. The experience is definitely different. So the experience of a woman is they'll end up with predominantly if they're swiping right. Right?
Yeah.
Right. So if they swipe right, there's a much higher likelihood that that's going to interrupt their swiping, because they'll go ping, and they got another match. Ping, they got another match. So that's a very different experience. To what men have. But I mean, that's just stats and the difference between men and women. The thing I was going to say was, what was I going to say? Oh yes, you said, and I thought it was an interesting thing for you to say, which was when people had Model T Fords, and you could have a Model T Ford, you could have it in black, and everybody was quite content with that. That's what I'm going with it, because it's about contentment. Now, back in the day, before apps, before people were traveling around the world and all that sort of thing, if you were living in your village and you've got an average, what did I say, 25-year-old boy, 25-year-old girl, they get together. It's not that anybody's losing anything, because it's that word again, they're content. So there's contentment. As soon as you open it up, and then all of a sudden, he's still in the village, effectively, and she's on the world stage, then people lose their contentment. Because she's got a million options, he's got fewer options. Now, here's an example of how this could work, without talking about people's attractiveness generally.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Let's go with height.
Okay.
Women like tall men.
Okay.
All right. If there's any women watching that want to get in the chat and say, no, I prefer short men, then have a go. But the reality is, women like tall men.
Okay.
The problem for short men is that short women like tall men just as much as tall women like tall men.
Again, I'll take your word on it.
Okay.
I haven't done the fact checking on that.
Okay.
But I get your point though, and it's been a narrative before. It's that stereotypical tall, dark, and handsome kind of situation, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's that no one says short, light, and fuck ugly.
So
some people like tall, fat, and ginger, and I don't understand why.
Yeah,
but I'm grateful to them for that.
Yeah.
us tall, fat, ginger people are grateful to you people who like tall, fat, and ginger.
Yeah. But anyway, so let's just base this purely on height.
Yeah.
The issue then is that if you've got dating apps where anybody can basically match with anyone at all, potentially, then the short men are not matching with anybody, or very, very, very few. And then what am I talking about? Oh, the tallest men, the very tallest men, are getting matches with the tall women and the short women, basically all the bloody women. Now that then creates a massive disparity, and takes away, obviously, contentment because people aren't going to be content with that, because there'd be too many people chasing too few, and quite a few that are not being chased at all, and the whole thing's a bloody disaster.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
My issue with dating apps is it's very superficial. Yeah, people are swiping literally on face value. What is the value of that person's face to you? Is it high? Good, you're going to swipe right. Is it low? You're going to swipe left.
Mm-hmm.
You don't know anything about them. You're just going, oh, yeah, they're attractive. Swipe. And I know attractiveness is subjective. But at the same time, I'm just like, again, if I ever thought about going on a dating app for whatever reason, I'd just be like, well, I don't stand a chance because I'm not an attractive person. And I'm just like, I know everyone is swiping left on me. It's just a natural fact of life. So, but yeah.
Oh, sorry, I should have chipped in there. No, that's not true.
No, it's okay.
No, that's not true. That's not true.
Ted, we've been friends for a long time, and you've never lied to me before.
But no, that actually isn't true. But the thing is, when it comes to no, I mean, quite honestly,
I lie to you all the time, CJ.
No, yeah.
Anyway, sorry.
but the yes, superficial. Having said that, that is an important component, and it's not necessarily. It's a sifting process.
Yeah.
Now, there's no point having it. Well, yeah, there's no point looking into into somebody's details, as okay, whereabouts do they live, what do they do for a living, what are their thoughts and fears and worries, and what do they do for a living, and so on and so forth. That doesn't matter if you don't fancy them. So the first thing would be, actually, do I find that person attractive or not? That's got to be up there. Because if you don't, then there's no point looking any further, is there?
I'm going to stand up for fugly people on this one, and that's including me, and say, generally, whilst physical appearance is a factor, it's not as big as a factor as personality, who they are as a person. I want to know that I'm going to be with someone who's intellectually stimulating, who is, who appreciates me for me, who's not looking for, I don't know, something that I'm not.
Okay, but
whereas let's say I'm a hunk, I've got Chris Hemsworth vibes or whatever, or name attractive actor that a lot of women like, in the space below. Literally the first thing they see is, oh, he's got abs like him, Yeah. And I know a lot of that comes from, very much, it's our primordial instincts of, you need an alpha, and you want the alpha male, you want a provider, all that kind of stuff. But in 2024, that stuff is less important than, I think, just being genuinely happy with the person that you're with, that you can have a conversation with them. And I find that's quite rare. I don't know. No, maybe I'm talking out my arse on that one. My experience for me is that's quite rare. And when you find it, you should kind of hang on to it. Yeah,
but you need to be able to find it in the first place.
But you got to find it first.
But you're not going to find it with somebody you don't find attractive. I think that's the point I'm making.
Depends on how you go about it.
I get what you're saying, but the thing is, what you can't do is you can't, like, for example, there used to be a program for the benefit of people outside the country, or for the benefit of anybody who's like not from the 1900s. There used to be a program called Blind Date, and I'm sure there's probably been other things since. And on there was on the stage there was a like a barrier between three women or three men on one side and a single person on the other, and then there was a host, Cilla Black, and she would ask questions. No, hang on. She would get the single person to ask questions of the three people on the other side. So they'd say, "Ali, so what's your first question?" And then the person would say, "Okay, I like I do enjoy good food, and I like to be cooked for. So my question is, what would you cook for me if we had a date?" And that question goes to number one, and then person number one would say, "Well, I'm really good in the kitchen, and I tell you what, I'd be cooking you up a storm." Right, and then people go,
cheese
"Ooh."
is what it was.
Yeah. Anyway, all throughout this whole time, they wouldn't be able to see each other.
Yeah.
And then it came up, and then it would come to the end, and the single person, or sorry, the person who was on their own, they should all be single, but the person who's on their own would then make a choice and say, well, I think on balance, I like number three, and then they'd get number three and the person choosing, and then they'd take the barrier away, and then they'd look at each other, and it was either a complete disaster or it went well. And it was nonsense anyway. It was silly questions.
I was going to say, but
it wasn't really a personality match thing.
No, and that's a dumbass game show that, where they literally spend an hour on stage to then get edited down to a 30-minute game show.
Yeah.
It was complete nonsense. But
it was nonsense. But
you take like the classic dating apps, or dating sites before apps were even a thing.
Yeah.
I won't say Plenty of Fish because that was a terrible place, but like eHarmony, other sites were available. You're okay. Yes, you'd have to put a photo in there, like a profile picture. But your first interaction, wasn't okay. Maybe you'd get them and you'd see their photo, and then you click into the profile, because if you wanted to send them a message, you had to click into the profile. So then you're then almost forced to read about them first, and then you go, and that's your first level of filtration. If the first line in their description is, "I don't really know why I'm here," you're like, "Nope, you're gone. See ya," because you know why you're here. Everyone knows why they're here on a dating site. You're just talking out your ass. But you start a conversation with them. But there's no swiping to then wait for a match. You just send out a message. You just go.
But you've seen the picture. And you wouldn't send a message to somebody you didn't like the look of.
No, but you're not also going, "Oh, they're attractive, swipe, and hoping for this match thing to happen. Because you've read nothing about them. You've just gone swipe, without actually even knowing the first thing about them. You've just looked at a photograph and made a snap decision. Whereas on the older sites, okay, you've looked at a photo and gone, "Okay, I like the look of them." But your decision then is to actually click into the profile and send them a message. But you're not going, "Oh, swipe. You actually have to say something to introduce yourself first before the other person starts swiping, because they then get a message going, "All right, someone's messaged me. Okay, now I'm going to have a look at them. All right, they're not terrible looking. What's the message? Oh, hi, how are you? Yeah, piss off. Not interested."
Yeah, I think I get the idea though of the whole swiping matching thing. I mean, it makes sense on face value, because not on face value. It makes sense from a very basic point of view, because you don't end up with a situation where people are sending messages, and when people send messages, they might send stupid messages or inappropriate messages or messages you don't want. And also, there's no point sending a message to somebody who has absolutely no interest whatsoever in that person at all. So the idea of doing the whole match thing is that, and bear in mind, you can have details other than just like, this is what this person's face looks like. If you like somebody and they like you back, then there's a match. Well, at least there's something to work from, and then there's messaging.
Okay.
But if you haven't got that, then you don't get the match. None of these things are perfect, and I would say the whole thing is imperfect. But the reason I'm saying that is, I was saying, you've got this kind of weird thing where there's like too much choice. That's the whole point of what we were talking about.
Loop it back around.
But the whole seeing somebody's face first and making a decision about that, you've got to bear in mind that's what we always do on a daily basis, not necessarily, when it comes to mating, but we do that all the time. You meet somebody and you kind of gauge an idea of whether or not you like that person based on how they present themselves. With dating, you've also got all the kind of instinctive things, like, for example, the reason why we're all around now is because we've rid ourselves of all sorts of diseases. The way we've done that is by trying to, breed out problems and not have inbreeding and things like that. So we tend to like opposites. The reason why people say, "Oh, we like opposites," they do that so that you don't end up, getting off with your cousin. That's
weird.
Yeah. So there's things like that that instinctively make you like a certain type of person.
Okay.
And I think if you're like, okay, yeah, but really should base it on personality, yeah, fine. But you can base it all on personality, but if there's no attraction there, then you've got nothing's going to happen anyway. It's never going, you're never going to have anything going on.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah,
maybe. I mean, I think for me, the last thing on dating is you're talking to someone who's never used a dating app, because I don't see the value in it. Because as I said before, I'm not one that will just go, oh, they're attractive, swipe there. I want to actually kind of read about them and see how they present themselves first.
Mm-hmm.
I want to understand who they are.
Yeah.
But there you go.
And you can. If they've written anything about themselves.
If they've written anything about themselves.
Well, this is another thing. If they write something about the less you write, well, the less you write, the better. In many cases, only because the more you write, the more people you alienate.
Okay.
So if you say something about yourself, which some people might think is a bit boring, then you've narrowed your options.
Yeah. Isn't that the point?
Yeah, but you saying okay. So let me put it this way. You're saying, hey, people, you got to get to know somebody, find out what their personality is like, and so on and so forth. Yeah. So let's say, for example, you said, "Oh, hey, I'm CJ. I like I like podcasting and video games." Right now, somebody might make a value judgment based on that, which is and might prejudge your personality based on it. It could be that you would get on like an absolute house on fire, but because you mentioned that, that's like, okay, not so sure about that.
I think I get what you're saying. Yeah, less is more. Don't give away everything right at the start. Let them learn about you. And yeah, okay. I have definitely looked at, like I say, I've done online dating. Many years ago, I've been on dating websites. And I've been a firm believer of, I just want to cut through the bullshit, right? I just want to, I'm going to tell you about me, and I'm going to tell you about the important things to me. So, as we've mentioned a few times on this show, and I think as most people understand about me, I am a massive Star Trek nerd. I'm going to write that on my profile. I love Star Trek. So if you don't love Star Trek, we are probably going to have a problem. But if you do love Star Trek, maybe we should start talking about it. Maybe you and I should start discussing that because we have something in common. I've never liked that phrase. Oh, we've got things in common. That's why we get on. So, whatever. Okay. But at the same time, it's that there. I feel like there needs to be a common interest there. Whether it's a particular cult, fiction, whatever, or whether it's gaming, or whether it's podcasting, or music, or whatever it is that you're into. I like to, I feel it's important for someone to understand who I am and what I like early on. So we don't play this dance of, oh, okay, I'm driving you home, but I like to listen to, well, at the moment I'm really into power metal music. I like to listen to power metal. But if it turns out that I put that on and you freaking hate it, we're going to have a big problem.
A big problem? Or really a bit?
Well, if it turns
there will be things. It's like a Venn diagram, isn't it? That yes, you're into power metal, but I'm sure you like other music as well.
Okay, let me go to the other extreme then. So I like power metal, but it turns out they like hip hop.
Yeah.
I don't like hip hop. It's not for me. And if you are dead against power metal and I'm dead against hip hop, there's an immediate conflict and it's just not going to work.
Yeah, but there's only a conflict if those are the things you're focusing on. What you should be focusing on is where there are commonalities, and there always are. There are always things that people have got in common, whether it's music. I mean, otherwise, radio stations would be, you wouldn't have Radio 1, Radio 2, and
that's why you've got Radio 1, Radio 2. They play different types of music on the different stations.
Yes, but for so many listeners who will find something that how often do you listen to the radio and think, I don't like this track?
I never listen to the radio.
Okay.
Sorry, bad example, but I get what you mean, though.
Really
I get it.
But the point is, there is always going to be some common ground. There's going to be common ground in music. There's going to be common ground in food. Mm-hmm. Why would you could? I know this is going to sound really bad, but you could fall in love with a vegan. A vegan could fall in love with you, but it doesn't mean. I mean, you could both eat, but it's not like one of you has to cram bacon down the other's throat, or vice versa.
I'll just cram bacon down my own throat.
Yeah, exactly. And then when you're both eating the same thing, it's probably going to be something that suits you both. It's going to be the pasta day or something, whatever. But the point is that there is going to be common ground, and focusing on the sort of outlying things. The problem is when you're on a dating app and you look at things that are being listed, like for example, first of all, let's say it was you. Let's say it's your face, followed closely with I love Star Trek, followed by I love power metal.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, followed by, well, it doesn't matter what's followed by, because the chances are you have narrowed it down to people who like your face. Okay, so let's say you've still got 90%. All right, being kind.
I'll say you're being really generous there.
Yeah.
I appreciate you, but yeah, you don't have to do this.
But then let's get a good picture, and then but then it's Star Trek. It's like, okay, Star Trek. Yeah. And then power metal. But it's like, but actually, yes, those are important to you, but it's not like something that you would impose on somebody else. It's not really a red flag, but it's not something that somebody's necessarily looking for. It's
No,
like
but it's
for other people, like you mentioned. That's a nice picture. They've got abs, but for some people, they'll see somebody saying, "Oh, I like to go to the gym." They'll think, "Oh, I don't want somebody who likes to go to the gym," because they'll spend all their time at the gym, and they'll just bloody go on about gym, and the place will be full of protein powder and all that sort of thing.
Yeah. But again, I guess from my side, I look at it as, let's take that example.
Mm-hmm.
If the person who has swiped on or looking on this person's profile is also into that, they're going to go, well, yeah, that's because that's me as well. I like going to the gym. My house is also full of protein powder. It's quite likely theirs is as well.
Yeah, but then they look down the list and go, oh, they like Star Trek. Oh, that's a shame. I thought the gym thing was good, but so when I say less is more, or you said less is more, but that is true. Less is more because you're not giving away your what did I call it? Your alienating factors.
You're not showing all your cards at the same time, and like I say, I get that, and I think that's the mentality for most people. For me, I like to, like I say, just kind of cut through a lot of it.
Yeah.
And I like to effectively just show my hand quite early on. But like I say, this is me. This is what I look like. This is what I'm into. But that's not for you. If that's not for you, you feel free to move on. But this is why I am not successful in dating.
Yeah, but this is what I'm saying. Your personality is much more than liking Star Trek. Your personality is much more than your face. But your face and Star Trek could both be something that somebody might not like so much.
Yeah.
Obviously your face. I mean, that's never going to work. But if it's Star Trek, actually, Star Trek's not going to affect somebody else, but it's not necessarily what they're looking for.
Yeah. Anyway, I think we need to kind of tail this off with, audience. Audience, as much as you think I might be a choice for you, I'm really not.
No.
Yeah, I am not in the market. So thanks anyway. I appreciate you.
Yeah.
Anyway, Bex came back in the chat saying there's definitely something in what you're saying, CJ. Well, thanks.
Yeah,
I see it from both sides. It's that I do have this ability to kind of see both sides of everything, or most things. And like I say, there's the way I like to do things, the way I think it should be done for me, but I'd see why other people do it their way as well, or that different way from me. And like you say, it's some people are into that very superficial, oh, there's a picture of an attractive person. It's that instant gratification of, I like how they look, swipe right, and then kind of deal with the rest of it as time goes on. Whereas, like I say, for me personally, but I think a lot of it comes down to the fact that, I know I'm not attractive, or I don't think I'm attractive. But so if I just say, well, here's my personality, or here's some things that I like, which will help you form a picture of my personality. I want you to know this information early on. And that's just how I play the game, or have played the game. Like I say, I don't play the game.
Yeah. Well, yes, absolutely. But if you were walking down the street and you saw somebody that was attractive to you, now you might walk along and say, "Oh, hello, I'm CJ. What's your name?" But you wouldn't do that. You wouldn't. You wouldn't do that if you wouldn't do that if you didn't find them attractive. So you've still that still exists as an initial decision, if you will. or an initial sift. And when it comes to dating apps, generally speaking, I would say that it would probably be better if they didn't exist. There's far too much choice, and as you said at the very beginning, too many options.
I'll say
people become options.
Well, the other way I look at it is, you want to get on the dating scene, go outside. Not only is it free, like most dating apps, but you're also then not plastering your personal information all over the internet. Today's episode is sponsored by Delete Me. It's really not. Sorry, I see loads of YouTube videos and they're all sponsored by Delete Me.
Oh, right. I've not seen that.
Oh, okay.
Used to be Squarespace.
Squarespace were big for a while.
Yeah.
I mean, they still do stuff. Squarespace, Wix, Delete Me, iFixit for the technology channels that I follow.
Mm-hmm.
Manscaped. I see Manscaped a lot.
Yeah. Athletic Greens.
Nope, haven't seen one of those.
That was the thing. Yeah.
Incogni. That was one channel. That's another one like Delete Me.
Mm-hmm.
What's the box where you make stuff?
The Makey box.
But for kids. Oh, God. Sponsored by...
Meccano?
No, it's like a...
Airfix?
No, it's literally it's a new... say a new thing. It's been around for a while, but like you subscribe to it and they send you a box every month and you can build stuff with your kids. Like, STEM projects. That's going to bug me. Someone in the chat, tell me what it is. And don't say Crunch Labs, because it's not Crunch Labs. It's like Crunch Labs. Anyway, it doesn't matter.
VPNs, they get
NordVPN, Surfshark, they get all the things as well.
Yeah.
So, hey, any of those brands that we've just mentioned,
please do get in touch.
Yeah, CJ and Ted at thetuesdayshow.co.uk. Ted's about to give you all of the social media stuff.
I'm going to give you all the social media stuff. So yes, if off the back of this conversation you think to yourself, no, CJ is talking through his hat and Ted just talks complete and utter bollocks, and you want to disagree with us, get in touch. If you want to agree with us, get in touch. You can DM me at Ted James Media, or you can DM. That's easy for me to say.
Yeah.
You can.
Take two. Oh, wait, I've got a clapperboard. Hang on.
Well, wait. Here we go.
Ready? Take two.
Well, that got silly. So anyway, you can DM me at Ted James Media. You can DM CJ at CJ Brooks FM. Yeah. And you can also email us at
CJ and Ted at thetuesdayshow.co.uk.
That's right. I need to test that email address again. I'm not entirely sure if things are coming through.
Okay.
But yes, do all of those things. Get in touch with us. Get in the comments. Be in the chat. Make sure you're with us next week at 11 p.m. UK time for the Tuesday show, Friday Night Live.
I thought you were going to go Friday Night Special. Friday Night Takeaway. Because we're probably going to talk about food again, so just prepare yourself with a takeout. Maybe
we should just do the topic of food. Just bite the bullet and do that.
Yeah, I feel like we should just rebrand and just make it a food vlog.
No, because all we do is we talk about bacon.
And bacon is life.
Yeah, it's always breakfast. I think we should do a breakfast. We should do breakfast at breakfast.
I think
if you run a radio station and you want some breakfast hosts who only talk about breakfast and play breakfast music, we're your men. Yeah, but do bear in mind that at some point during the show we'll have to break off and have breakfast.
Yeah, so we'll just make ourselves hungry and we'll have to go and eat something. But that's fine. We'll just set up 3 songs in a row and we'll run off to the canteen, get food, come back.
Or if we get it all done and dusted by about 10 o'clock, actually, then we could go and get brunch.
I was going to say that'll be time for brunch, then you can have chips with it as well.
Yeah. Anyway, it will be time for breakfast soon if we don't go. But like I say, see us back here next week, Friday. Goodbye.
11 p.m. Bye. We out yet? Anyone?